See, I'm sat right by my window. My window's right here, so I'm good.
Okay, cool. So we are now live. So welcome to everyone who is joining us on YouTube. My name is Jermaine AKA Jay, and joining me on this Jay's big chat, we've got Rudy, Andre, Roland, got Jess, and we've got Gaia. Welcome, guys.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Glad to have you here. So we're going to be talking fitness and well-being, health and fitness, whichever way you want to put it around. And it's going to be an interesting one because I feel like since this whole pandemic has started, I've seen a lot more individuals trying to get into sort of the fitness, health, whatever kind of bracket you want to put them in, doing things at home in your local parks. It's been an interesting year for health and fitness, to say the least. It's also the year in which the Olympics was meant to take place, but unfortunately that can't happen. So there's lots to talk about, and we're just going to dive straight in. So let's look at the word fitness. Yeah. So everyone kind of throws that word around loosely, trying to keep fit or you look fit. What does that word mean to you guys? And this is just open to anyone.
For me personally, I'll go first. Me personally, I've always understand it in more of a definition standpoint. Is how best suited you are to your surroundings or your day-to-day activities. So if I'm a sprinter, like some of the coaches are, if you're a sprinter, how fit are you for that daily routine? Are you fast twitch muscle fibers? Are you explosive? Are you powerful? If you're someone that's got majority slow twitch muscle fibers, I wouldn't say you're fit necessarily for that. Not saying that you wouldn't be able to partake in that, but fitness is basically how much are you suited to that.
Okay, are we agreeing?
Yeah, I agree.
I've got a slightly different standpoint on fitness. I like to split it down the middle and look at the physical fitness, physical aspect, the aspects of fitness, and also the mental aspects as well. So you mentally fit, that could go down to nutrition, sleep patterns, and things like that, as well as obviously having the attributes, the physical attributes to being fit, like that was said before. So that's how I'd sort of define fitness.
Yeah, of course. I think definitely your mind is part of being, fit for a particular sport or environment. Your physical ability, or are you emotionally fit for a sport? Are you ready to be aggressive if you need to be aggressive? Are you, a more softer person? Are you not going to be suited to an aggressive sport or not? So definitely agree with that.
So who defines whether you're fit or not?
I think that comes down to an athlete or an individual when they first start taking part in the sport. Obviously, depending on how you develop within the sport, if it's more recreational or if it's going to be more competitive, that depends on how you see yourself perform or enjoy the sport, how your level of competitiveness develops, and coaches' feedback. Because obviously, one coach's feedback is just a matter of opinion and their experience. But I feel like it's a collective of the individual, the coaches, and probably even like interaction with other athletes. Do they feel like they gel well within the sport, and do they, fit within that?
Okay, yeah, you were about to say something.
Yeah, I was gonna raise the question if it's possible to be fit without being mentally fit.
So you mean like being physically fit?
Both answers together that were given. Yeah, exactly. I'm not so sure you can be physically fit without being in that place mentally too. So I was kind of trying to twist the conversation towards a more holistic approach. And then I also wanted to raise a second question, namely, do you always have to be fit for something? or can you be just fit per se, or does this depend on the individual's goals? Maybe, I don't know, it's just a question I would like to ask everyone.
Yeah.
Can I attack that? That's all right, everyone.
Yeah.
Those are really two really good questions, to be honest. I'd say the first one, I agree with in a sense, but I'd like to flip it on the head, because I would say the person might not be physically fit, for example, being injured, but then their mental state could make them feel fit emotionally, which then could then lead to them being physically fit, you know, going through the process, going through the stages. I thought that's something that I can kind of relate to through past experiences.
Okay.
And to answer your second question, I would say it's all to do with working within their capability. So are you capable of running for 90 minutes during a football game? And if you can, then great. I would say that ticks a box. You are physically fit to undertake that sport. I don't know if I've answered both those questions.
Yeah, so because I think from your second question as well, it's, can a person, without indulging in a particular sport or activity, so can a person just be fit for being fit's sake without having to be fit in order to play a sport or something? Do you know what I mean? Like, can I just go to the gym or do my running, or really what?
I agree. Fitness to me is not all about being able to do go to the gym or execute certain tasks there, such as football, rugby, any of those sports. It's all about the task that's actually presented to you, and are you strong enough and fit enough to do that task?
Yeah.
What it then comes into is we then have our own separate goals as to how fit we want to be. So,
definitely, I think in other words, you need to be fit for life. Like, you don't have to necessarily be fit for a sport, but you can definitely be fit for life. Can you walk up 10 flights of stairs if the lift is not working? Can you carry your shopping if you need to carry your shopping? Can you, do these day-to-day activities or day-to-day, tasks? That doesn't necessarily mean you can deadlift 200 kg or,
Because just I mean, coming from a PT's kind of thing, obviously you must come across this quite a lot, isn't it? Like, how can I be fit? Help me be fit.
Yeah, I think with fitness.
Sorry, go on. No, go. Sorry.
Okay, I'm going. I think with fitness, it's dependent on your individual goals. So somebody might want to just be fit to play with their son in the garden, or their grandchild in the garden. So that could be their goal. And that might not mean they want to lift heavy weights. So I think it's dependent on their goal. Whereas if you're an athlete, you might have a goal to do, I don't know, 100-meter sprint in a certain amount of time. So I think fitness is dependent on each person and their goal, because fitness to me is probably going to mean something different to all of you guys. So I think it's different for every single person and depending on what you want to achieve. Like, I might want to just be generally fit for my well-being, whereas you might want to be fit for a sport or whatever. So I think it's dependent on your actual goal.
Okay, so help me kind of like define it a little bit more, right? Because when I kind of hear the word fitness, it's almost like everyone, as you said, everyone's saying, well, I feel fit, I look fit, I'm doing things to that I think I need to do to tick those boxes. So is there not a generic sort of line where fitness comes in? Because are we talking about feelings here as opposed to something like tangible? So like, is fitness, is there no sort of
measurable?
Yeah, can you not measure a fit person?
I don't think that you can. Sorry,
I think you can to an extent, but I think you have to take it in. There's a scale to everything. So you've got aspects of fitness, speed, power, strength, flexibility. Everyone's scale where they are depends on their goals, their lifestyle, and what they're actually trying to achieve. So an older person may not be extremely fast, but they have got their level of speed, which is an aspect of fitness. They have their level of strength, which you can measure. It may not be what we would want, but it's measurable. Okay, can we measure their strength? Okay, yes. Can we measure her speed? Yes. Can we measure her power? Yes. It may not be high, but these are the aspects of fitness that we know of. So it may not be, you know, needed for her to be even stronger than she is, but these are things that we can measure and, okay, say, this is her level of fitness.
Yeah.
In terms.
And you were saying,
sorry. And they are measured in the sense that per age group, you're expected to be able to do certain tasks within a particular age group. So there is a scale there for us to follow. How many people are, you know, average, below average, or above average, but there is a scale there for fitness.
Jess, were you saying contrary to that, or do you agree?
I agree.
No, sorry, I meant Jess, because I don't know if you were agreeing.
I was just going to say that I think fitness is, you can measure your own fitness and other people's, but I don't think it's comparable. Like, I could be fit for what I want to do, but that might not be fit for what you want to do. So I think fitness generally can be measured, but it's dependent on the sport or exercise that you're doing for you, because I could be fit for, I don't know, weight training, but I might not be fit to do a 100-meter sprint. So it's like if you compared, say, Usain Bolt and Mo Farah, they're both fit, but for their sport. Does that make sense?
Right.
So I think I think it's measurable within the sport that you do and what you actually do, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think, I mean, it's true to a certain extent. However, I think that's kind of a baseline, because I mean, I'm not the fastest person on earth, and I never run. But when I do go running, you know, I can sustain like 20, 30 minutes, and I guess I'm fit, but I never trained for running, as opposed to someone who is completely unfit, and maybe they do, you know, they might be better at lifting when they start than they are at running, but the running can be completely like impaired, and they need to work towards it. So I don't know. I mean, I think that, I mean, it's true that then you specialize in your area, in your sport that you like, but that's a sort of a baseline, I guess, for you to be called fit.
Yeah.
I think for me, I kind of have to agree on that side, in terms of, I think the you know, the human body has a particular kind of, as you mentioned, you know, line. There has to be this is the fit person in terms of course, this is where you take dietary into it as well. So, you know, your blood pressure, your different levels of, you know, all the measurable sort of vitamins and all that sort of stuff. Your muscle, you know, just different. There must be different things that one looks at and says, okay, this person, forget about doing any sport, this person is a fit person in terms of the way that their heart beats, the way that their blood flows, all this sort of stuff. Because again, yes, I 100% agree that you have to be fit for a particular type of sport, but that's where training comes into it. Do you know what I mean? It's like, okay, if I don't want to be a footballer, so they don't tend to do certain exercises that, for instance, a bodybuilder would want to do, or a rugby player. You know, they will train differently. But surely the baseline for every fit person has to be a baseline, right?
Yeah.
I think that's more where we start using the word health, because if you're going to talk about how your heart functions or blood pressure, that's when it's more like you've got a baseline for your health in terms of what's your blood pressure, is it too high, is it too low, your sugar levels. This is when you're more in the health side compared to fitness. Whereas that's when people start using words a bit loosely, like, okay,
so let's do this. Let's finish off on the fitness, and then we can dive into the health, and then we can compare and contrast the two sort of worlds. And I'm really curious about this next one, and it's, you know, looking at myths. So kind of myths surrounding fitness. So things that you've heard in the fitness world, things that you've heard people say, and you're just like, well, that is, you know, that isn't true, but they do believe it because these are, you know, these are believable myths. Like, so what are some of the sort of myths?
I've got one.
Yeah.
Eating I don't know if you guys have heard this one, but eating like after 6, or you shouldn't do that. So you shouldn't eat after like 6 p.m. or something that you're going to put extra weight on or something. And I'm like, how does the time that you're eating influence how much weight you're going to put on? Obviously, it would be an overall calorie surplus to make you put weight on, not the time that you're eating. And my next favorite one is doing like sit-ups to get a flat stomach. So obviously, if you're like medically obese, and that those people genuinely believe that doing sit-ups is going to get them a 6-pack. So those are my 2 main ones, really, that I would say.
Yeah, that's actually, sorry. I think that's
No, go.
No, because there's a grain of truth in the false belief about not eating after 6 p.m., which is based on the insulinic spike, like a different insulinic response in the evening. But again, as you said, it's the caloric surplus that will make you fat. It's not your just very insulinic response relating to that precise meal of the day. Because at the end of the day, if you're in a deficit, you're still in a deficit. Doesn't matter. Like, you won't get fat from that meal, but you'll get fat eventually.
I feel like it stems from strategies that people are told to try and control their calorie intake. So if you, let's say, give someone a smaller window to consume, you would hope that they would consume less calories. But I feel like people start taking that on as in, oh, I shouldn't eat after 6 because I'm going to get fat. It's more of a, I can see where it's coming from. It's more of eat no later than 6, 7. So hopefully they won't be binging at night. But then they misunderstand and they think.
And surely there's you know, there's a negative side to that, because you're talking about giving someone a smaller window, but say 8 o'clock comes, you're still awake. You know, you're telling yourself, oh, I can't eat. 6 o'clock was my limit. You know, when you try and tell yourself you can't do something, the more you want to do it. You know.
Yeah, of course.
So for me, I think again, this is where it kind of falls short, because you know, it's a longer window for an individual not to eat, and then when they do go and eat, it's worse off. So
I don't necessarily tell people to do that, just so I can clear it. I don't necessarily tell people don't eat after 6, because most people finish work at 6. So when you finish work, you want to go home, you want to have a nice meal. You don't want to go home and you're like, okay, I'll just watch that and then go bed. You want to be able to have a meal. But this is where, as a personal trainer, we need to try and, you know, educate, you know, members in the gym, your clients, that okay, it's not the strategy, whether you're vegan, you're intermittent fasting or whatever, it's the calorie deficit, maintenance or surplus that's gonna, you know, influence how your body either puts on or loses weight, kind of thing. So it's just teaching that.
Sorry.
Yeah. What
I was just gonna say.
They're gone.
Sorry.
No, go.
I was just going to say that I think a lot of people overcomplicate like weight loss. So people may use, I don't know, Slimming World or Weight Watchers or whatever thing they've heard on the internet or seen, rather than just dealing with the facts of like a calorie deficit. So I definitely think about educating people, if you're in the industry, to do so, about how to actually lose weight effectively, rather than just doing like these binge diets where you lose, I don't know, 2 stone, then you put it back on when you go back to your normal routine. So I think educating the people around you.
Yeah, we're going to touch on that as well. We're definitely going to touch on that as well. But hit me with some more myths, some more fitness myths.
Out training a bad meal or a bad diet. When I hear people say, it's all right, I had a bad day, but I'm just going to run for 20 minutes. Like, it's not really how it works. Like, you need to understand how bad of a bad meal did you have, and you know, do you know your calorie consumption? Like, do you know your energy balance? I think it's kind of linked to the other one, where it's like people just don't really understand calories. Even before I started learning, we don't understand calories. We don't grow up in you know, in school knowing, okay, we're burning X amount, we need to eat X amount. Or if we're burning this much. When we were younger, we all were just active, going to school, PE, after school clubs, running, athletics. I did athletics, I did martial arts. So we never really put on weight. We just think food is energy, we're good. But when most people drop off, that's when they realize, okay, what's happening here? That's when they don't have the knowledge. They're 35 and they don't know how to eat.
Yeah,
so I agree.
That's the issue. That's really the issue.
Yeah. What about so like one for me? Whilst you guys think of one, is the myth surrounding women and training upper body. And of you kind of lift the weight and you'll end up being bulky, and you don't want to look bulky, you don't want to be around. So when women go to the gym, it's pure lower body. And I've actually heard firsthand, oh yeah, no, I don't train upper body because I don't want arms like that, or I don't want a chest like that. Do you know what I mean? And it's like,
yeah, I wish it was that easy.
I say to people, it was as easy. I say to people, if it was as easy as touching the weight and getting big arms, believe me, I will have big arms that, trust me, it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of time. I try to explain to them the process of gaining muscle, the process of being in a surplus, all these kind of things. But it's a lot of these things just come down to like lack of knowledge growing up through school and life. And then like when you only ever think about it when it's a problem. And it's like, okay, I'm 45 or I'm 35. What do I do? How do I eat? How do I move? Because you never really have to think about it before. So that's where these myths come in. So
and I mean, most women don't even know they've got testosterone, and they don't know testosterone is responsible for muscle growth. So again, it's a lack of education, which should maybe address in schools, because we never study those things.
True.
What I think about it is that generally, I think women grow up idealizing certain body types, and generally they aren't women who are muscular. So it's almost like people grow up not wanting to look like this muscular physique. So it's almost frowned upon. So women may see that they're not attractive with muscles and that type of stuff. So I think there's like a negative stigma around women who are muscular, and especially growing up when you're looking at magazines or films, you don't really see women with big muscles. You just see women with like nice legs or a nice flat tummy. So I think generally what you see is what you want to be. But and if you don't do that,
as a PT, you would and being a woman yourself, like do you train upper body?
So I train upper body more than lower body. So I'll do 4 upper body sessions and then 2 lower. But I just think that most women are scared to train upper body because I think they're going to look like Hulk or something, or something crazy. Like a lot of my friends will just say, oh, I don't really want to do like shoulders. I don't really want to get too broad or something. And I'm like, I've been lifting weights for say 2 years. I wish my shoulders are like out here. But they're not.
It's not that easy, no.
It's not gonna happen.
No.
Yeah, representation is key. Like what's represented, like you said, what you see is what you want to become. So if you only ever see really slim women, which is nothing wrong with that, but if you only see that, if you're not necessarily slim or tall, you're gonna think, okay, I don't fit this look. What can I do to get this look? So it's just
also, and also another one, surrounding women, is that they should be consuming way less calories than they actually should. Like every time I'm eating with someone, people are like, oh, you're eating all the food, and where are you gonna store it? And,
where are you gonna store it?
Because the equation is like, food equal to fat. Like, they don't even know that if you carry more muscle, you've got faster metabolism. And again, it's all a matter of education maybe. But most women, they don't even eat enough to sustain their training, and
exactly. How about this? And Rudy, I've had conversations with you pertaining to working out and scheduling, and how many times you work out in a day, or how many times you work out in a week or a month. At your peak of workout. So if you can kind of look back, Rudy, and think, okay, when I was working out this much, this is where I saw the sort of the most I guess growth or gains, whatever you want to say. What period of time was that? Like how often were you working out?
At my peak, I'd say I was going to gym about 4 times a week.
Okay.
But on average, I'll be there for about an hour, maybe hour and a half. I don't think, on average, in all honesty, it'd be an hour I'd be there in the gym.
Wow. Okay.
And that would be enough for me personally. I could see I was achieving my personal goals.
Yeah.
I was happy with that.
In your gym, actually, I take it that you've all been to a gym, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
At the gyms that you've gone to, there is definitely this person, and I don't know if you're this person, so please don't take offense, but there's definitely this person, right, that no matter what time you go there,
he's there.
He's there.
He or she, they're right there. You arrive, they're there to welcome you. You're leaving, and they're there to tell you goodbye. And they don't work there, you know. They're just normal gym goers. So have you got one of those at your gym?
I don't understand it. You know, when you walk into the gym and they're just there, and you're like, oh my god, they're here again. And then you leave, and they are still there.
They're
and
still
I'm
there.
like, I've worked out, showered, get ready to go, and you're still on the first exercise you were doing when I got here.
Yeah,
I don't understand.
I don't know if it's people who, so like for instance, there's a guy at my gym, and if he's watching, welcome. I don't know if there's someone called the guy at the gym, but there's a guy at my gym, and if I decide to go 6 o'clock in the evening until 7:30, he's there. If I decide to go at 2 p.m. instead because I finished work early, or whatever the case may be, he's there. And this guy works, you know. It's just, but some people, and again, the reason why I ask the question is because, of course, some people do believe, and this is another myth, like the more you work out, you know, the bigger your muscles get or the stronger you get. So they do, you know, I've heard that one quite a lot. No, I've got to do 5 days, I've got to do 6 days, I've got to do 7 days. Otherwise, I ain't, you know, I've got to get the pump on, But there's a lot more to it than just the exercise in it. There's that rest time that is equally important.
Yeah,
a lot of people
more important. Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
Yeah.
No, I was just saying that it's even more important than the actual training.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. A lot of people don't understand the rest part of it. The recovery is when your muscles will actually grow or adapt, you know, get faster or stronger, whatever it may be, build more endurance. Now, I remember telling a guy in the gym, I remember telling him, like, I see him every day. I was like, you hit every single day, like for 3-4 hours. Like, do you take rest days? He's like, no, I never rest. I'm like, you need to rest, bro. Like, you need to let your muscles recover and gain the benefits from your training. Otherwise, you're just causing constant damage, no time for that repair. And after him trying it, he told me like he never felt better. He's stronger now because he had time to recover and bench instead of benching every single day. Instead of, you know what I mean? Like, give it some time. And it's just, you know, taking the time to speak to each member. If you notice these things, to kind of like, is everything all right? Like, do you know what you're doing? Tell me about your training. What is it you're doing, or what you're trying to achieve? There was another guy as well. He's the one that's hit all day. I think for him, it's more of a recreational thing. Like, he's there to just, you know, be in an environment that's buzzing, seeing different people. You know, like, honestly, definitely, some people will come to the gym just for like the social environment. Like, they see people coming in and out, they're seeing young people train, or they're seeing older people train, and they're happy, and they're like, you know what, I just like being in this environment. And some people feed off that energy, and they literally leave happy. I've spoken to someone who says, I like being here because everyone's working on themselves and happy. And that's just for that purpose.
I'm going to be really honest about something. I really struggle to take rest. So like, I normally do 5 or 6 sessions a week, and I'll take a rest day and I'll be like, I don't like it. And I got to the point where my body was just aching. I wasn't seeing any progress, and I was literally just smashing gym. Maybe like, I was even there maybe 3 hours a day sometimes.
Wow.
I was eating really low calories, like we said before, where women think they need to eat really low. I was probably eating something like 1,200 calories a day, training like 6 times a week for like 3 hours, and I just felt like I had nothing left to give. And obviously now I'm in a better place where I can take that rest a little bit better mentally. I had a rest week the other week and I felt fine doing it, but before that I really struggled with taking rest. So I think, well, if you educate someone on that, the fact that rest actually helps you grow and recover, then people are more likely to do it. Whereas people just think, you know what, let me do 7 sessions a week, 3 hours. That's the most optimal way to train. Whereas maybe not.
I think a lot of people go through that. I've been through that as well. I think a lot of people go through a time where, especially when you're eager and you're hungry for your, you know, results or your gains or whatever it may be, a lot of people go through that phase of, you know what, I just want to keep going at it. Especially if you've never done sports, for example. Like, I used to do athletics. We only train 3 times a week, track days. We'll have other days where we'll do weights, and there'll be other days where we have rest. And even when when I did martial arts, it would be, okay, we're training 3 times a week and we're resting the other days. Obviously, this is at amateur level. I'm not saying at a high level, but it was still structured in a way where you're not training every single day. And I didn't realize it was rest days.
Yeah, so I was going to say, obviously, Andre, like you being, you know, into running, and is it the same? Is it the same in the running world? You know, in terms of the way you train, and you know, how does it work for you?
I would say it's slightly different. There's 2 sides to the running mode. Obviously, you've got like the competitive side. So when I used to compete, I was in deep, so I used to train 8 times a week. So that obviously meant 2 days where you double run, and pretty much no rest. Our rest day was still an easy run and circuits. So with that being said, it's like a huge amount of pressure on the body, which obviously leads to injuries and stuff like that. But in terms of the recreational running, I guess now I only run maybe 2 or 3 times a week, and that's just running for the sake of it, me just enjoying it, and sort of intertwining that with my weights as well, trying to keep fit. So there's 2 massive sides of the spectrum that you can kind of fall into, but it's whether, I would say it's whether your body can take it or not. My body clearly couldn't take training 8 times a week because I ended up rupturing my quad and not kind of recovering from that.
I've got a question, especially because of yourselves, you're all PT, work in the gyms. If we turn the clock back a few years, and even still today, a lot of people working, it was very, very physical. So people would be working very hard, 7 days a week, 5 or 7 days a week, doing very, very physical work. So I don't really see the problem in me choosing to do an hour every day in the gym, because it's nothing in comparison to what a lot of people who do very physical work on building sites, for example, they're being very physical throughout the day.
I feel like it depends on how you break it down. So if you want to go to the gym every day, I would say choose, if you want to divide it into muscle groups, and I guess you'd be allowing your body to rest as well while still going to the gym and working hard.
Yeah, that's the thing. If it's structured in the right way. Sorry.
Yeah.
If it's structured in the right way.
Yeah, go on. Yeah.
Sorry, if it's structured in the right way, like even when he was training 8 times a week, I'm sure the coaches, they calculated, okay, he's gonna have X amount of sleep and he's gonna have X amount of rest from that session. This session is gonna be slightly different. Or even if you're going once a day, every day, you're doing various different training. Now, obviously, if you want to improve your bench, you wouldn't bench every day. That's what the rest is, you know, tailored to. Like, you need to rest certain parts of your body, your nervous system, and there will be times where you might have to take a complete day off. But if you're training every day, it's not necessarily bad as long as your body is getting time to recover from each.
So really, I was looking at that, and there was a period of time where I would train every day. And the reason why I stopped, although, break it down in muscle groups. So, you know, your chest will get 2-3 days rest because you're doing legs, you're doing back or shoulders, whatever you're doing, right? But then I thought, even though they're different muscle groups, I found that it's the same lungs, it's the same heart, it's the same, you know, it's my same mind. There's a lot of things that each muscle group depend on to work. So I found that when I did rest, and of course, it's going to the gym and seeing results and feeling good and whatnot. It's amazing. You want to do it every day, of course. And as I said, I used to be like that as well. But when I forced myself to go, okay, do you know what? Today is a rest day. And although I said to myself, I could have been working out now, I could have been doing a bit of this or a bit of that because I'm fresh there. But really and truly, at the end of it, I realized, although I could have done legs today because I'm fresh on legs, your body's still working, so you're not really recovering as much, even though, because you're still using that particular. Sometimes even when you're training chest and you're saying I'm resting my shoulders or I'm resting my tris, my bis or whatever, you're using those motions, you're using those muscles in doing those exercise. You know, people say, oh yeah, I'll do legs today and I won't train the upper body. And it's like, well, really, a lot of legs depend on upper body strength and muscle. So it's, I do believe in rest days.
And also we've got like several muscle groups, but only one nervous system. I mean, two nervous systems, but like just one. So like it doesn't matter, you know, where the signal goes, but it always affects the nervous system because that's where it comes from anyway. So there's another system to take care of and which needs to recover too. So yeah, you're totally right.
And plus, it just gives. Go on.
I was just going to say that I think it's dependent on the person, because you could train 7 days a week, but 2 of those sessions could be maybe like a light cardio session, for example. So it's a slight recovery. So I think it's dependent on how your body responds to the exercise. Like I might be able to train 6 days a week, 1 rest day, and that'd be fine. Whereas the next person might only be able to do 4 sessions. So I think, again, it's dependent on things like age, I know your nutrition, how much sleep you've had, how much recovery you may have had going into that session. So I think, again, it's dependent on your goal and yourself as a person.
So is this where they say listen to your body? Is that the
yeah
definitely.
I think that's true.
So I just wanted to say that just as kind of support what Jessica was saying, in terms of training 7 days a week, you could also incorporate sessions like Pilates or yoga, which kind of allows the body to recover, but also targets the key areas that you want to work on as well, without putting too much stress on the joints and on the muscle groups.
Yeah, more of like a holistic approach. So like stretching, foam rolling, maybe core work, maybe some conditioning stuff. So you can do lighter stuff. I think it just depends on how much recovery your body actually requires.
Yeah. And goals are, it's all about the goals as well. Because if you're looking to build muscle and you're pushing heavier and heavier weights, then I understand, then yes, you do need to rest the body.
Yeah.
If you're looking to maintain, then it's a slightly different scale we're working on there.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I mean, I looked at it as, you know, I used to, I do, you know, someone said to me, do I miss the gym now in lockdown? And although I do, obviously for the social aspect, but also for the working outs and stuff as well. I came, I think just before the end of last year, coming into this year, I said to myself, and I said to my gym partner as well, I was like, I feel like what I'm doing, so I might have set goals, okay, so I want to be able to look like this, or be able to lift this, and you set yourself goals and so forth. But then there came a time in which I then said, well, unless I'm getting paid to look this way now, or to look better than this, or to be faster than this, or to be stronger than this, I realized it is a lot of time, a lot of dedication to be putting in. And I found myself getting caught up in that as well. So as good as fitness is, I felt like I was also neglecting certain parts of whether it's my personal life or business life for the fitness. So I think it can, you know, there's a thin line between sort of being fit for a reason, or being fit, or continuous, as we said, maintaining 100%. Yep, you maintain, you're happy, you just want to be able to, you know, do your thing. But to keep on progressing, or lifting stronger, or getting heavier, or getting bigger and whatnot. Some people are fine with it, but for me personally, I just think, gosh, like it's a lot of time and dedication. I need to put that into something else whilst maintaining or steady growing. But
no, I
definitely.
was just gonna say.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, definitely. I agree. I was just saying, I agree with that. It is a lot of dedication for if you're not getting paid. It is a lot.
I was just gonna say that I see myself getting caught up in it now. So I'm still only young myself. So like, well, I'm 22 tomorrow. So
oh, nice.
Happy birthday for tomorrow.
Thank you. I find myself almost so dedicated on what I want to achieve that other things slide. So like, say if my friends say you want to go out for a drink, I'm like, oh no, not this weekend. I don't really want to drink. I don't want to fall off track, or For example, do you want to go out for food like twice this week because it's your birthday, for example, even though restaurants are shut, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you want to grab food twice this week? I almost feel like, oh, I don't want to do that because I'm going to fall off. But then I do want to do that because I want to enjoy my life at the same time. So I think you have to find that balance. And
It's
I think
that balance,
the balance doesn't happen overnight. I think the balance happens after years and years and years of practice, mentally and physically, getting the balance right between being happy and enjoying your life, but being fit and active at the same time, because you can't always do 7 sessions a week, heavy weights and smash your nutrition 24/7. It isn't possible. So I think you've got to be able to live your life as well as do everything else.
Yeah, as you said, it's down to the individual, but I think it's about the people around you as well. And having good PTs at gyms, having good gym partners and people on your network that you can talk to realize, actually, you know, it's okay to not fall off, but it's okay to miss a day, so it's okay to do this. You know, it doesn't mean that you're failing, because I think in some people's you know, mental, and it stems from starting off, isn't it? Because when you start off, it has to be the most dedicated period of time, and then you get stuck in that track that you've always, okay, this was the momentum. I used to look like this, now I look like this, and that didn't happen from missing a day, or that didn't happen from going out and having a drink or having a birthday meal, birthday meals or whatever. It happened from sacrifices. But then you realize, actually, you don't need to sacrifice as much as you did before.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. I think, when you start off, it needs to be a lot stricter compared to when, like, we're all at a stage now where we've trained for a while. Okay, we may not be exactly where we want to be, but a day off for your birthday is not going to kill you. A day off, you know,
exactly.
It's all right. It's all right. It's good.
I think a lot of it is like trial and error. So you had that drink on the weekend and it didn't hinder your progress, so you know that you can do that. But if you stop yourself from doing it, you won't ever learn the balance. So I think you've got to try it in order to see how your body responds to it, to know that it's actually okay.
Yeah, of course. Okay, so let's move on to the health section. And I'll literally, if you have any questions on health, fire them out there. I'll kick it off with, let's talk about the word obese, right? And actually, and the reason it's come to mind is because there's a program, I'm not sure if you've seen, about kids blaming their parents and saying they're responsible for their obesity. So again, just want to kind of, you know, run with this for a while in terms of what's your thoughts on, I guess, children and obesity, and of course from children comes, you know, your teenagers and then your adults and so forth. Is it a child's fault? Is it a parent's fault? Is it anyone's fault?
I think that it's the, sorry, go on.
No, go on, continue, it's fine.
I was just going to say that I think if parents have been brought up and they've had children and they live an active lifestyle and they are obese, I think it's natural for that to be pushed onto the children, because if your parent has takeaways and doesn't do exercise, they're probably not going to encourage their child to do exercise. Then it's like a burden that the child ends up like their parent, and then it's like a vicious cycle. But then I think if more education was put into schools and children maybe found something that they enjoyed or different foods that they might like that are healthy, that might help. But I think it all stems from parents living a certain lifestyle and then that being pushed down onto the children. I personally think, I don't know if anyone else agrees with me, but I think it starts with parents.
I think it's harsh to blame parents fully, because there's the home life is only an aspect. I used to eat before I go home and eat when I get home. Do you know what I mean? I feel like it's I think there's a lot of society that doesn't really teach us about health and fitness. If you take China, for example, they exercise, they take break from work to exercise as a team. They push it in their schools, they push health and fitness. It's a way of life. There's no question. That's just how it is. Like, if we push this more in our society, and it just comes down to like, how much are we really, or the government in terms of the health sector, are they going to start pushing this, you know, prevention is better than cure kind of thing? Because it's not the parents' faults entirely, but at the same time, once you become an adult, you need to look at yourself and look at your children and take responsibility and say, I need to help them. If you just stay in the dark and say, you know what, I'm overweight, I'm obese, and my child is obese, and you think that's all right, then it's a danger to that child and to yourself, because it can, you know, lead to other issues. But it's not just, I think it's home, school, work, society. It needs to be like a thing. It needs to be a thing.
It's like the whole.
The child's age come into play, because if I have seen 5-year-olds that are obese, and the only person to blame there is the parents. Now,
Of course, If
this 11-year-old that's obese, then I can understand how the child is playing into that, contributing to that, because they are very much in control. But in many cases, the parents have actually brought the child up that way.
I agree.
And that's the issue. Like, in that case, it's 100% the parents' responsibility. But as a society, if we had taught those parents health and fitness in a general level, it's very unlikely that that child would have become like that. If they understood, okay, we need to move regularly, we need to eat regularly or healthily in different aspects. That way, it would have been less likely to have, you know, an overweight child. A lot of countries like China, to be honest, a lot of Southeast Asia, they don't have a lot of big people compared to, you know, Europe and, let's say, America kind of thing.
Well, I'm talking a teacher's standpoint here.
Yeah.
That's all right, because obviously I've worked both in primary and secondary, and it's quite evident that this whole obesity stems from primary. Because if you read, especially after 2012, the obesity rate has risen again. I can only talk for the academy I teach in, that we ingrain all this information into the kids while they're in school, healthy eating, we have workshops and things like that. But I would say it's their upbringing and what they're given at home. And if you look at the environment some of these schools are in, if you look at the socioeconomic status of some of these homes, buying fresh fruit and veg is quite expensive, as opposed to going to Iceland and getting, I don't know, a pack of fish fingers that are highly processed. So you have to kind of look at those things. So I guess in a way it is educating the parents, but I guess they're not to blame solely, but they're the environment. So I guess these kids are becoming a product of their environment. If you live in the countryside, you're more prone to getting more fresh fruit and veg, and having more access to better foods.
I guess, I mean, as you were saying, it's a matter of society maybe, and general culture, environment, and the fact that this kind of fruits are way more available now than they used to be. Like, I'm 33, so when I grew up, we didn't have McDonald's. I remember the first time that, you know, McDonald's branch opened, like in my area. Like, it was kind of you know, like it was that news. Like I remember it was, oh, you know, McDonald's opening. Now, you know, they're everywhere, and people are you know, that they aren't educated enough to make healthy choices, and they can't really tell the difference between, you know, something from McDonald's and something homemade, because no one has ever taught them, basically.
Okay, so what is, because you sorry, Rudy, just before you go, what is the word, you know, the word that we're using here is health and healthy eating and so forth. So really, just after you finish, let's just touch on, you know, the word health and healthy, and what does that actually mean? Like, what is healthy eating? What are healthy foods? But yeah, go on, Rudy.
Well, I think this would lead on quite nicely into healthy foods. It's very much society that we live in today, here in the developed world. That's where we are seeing a lot of obesity. But I'm gonna remind, I'm pretty certain everyone here saw that TikTok little girl, no more, what was it, Deliveroo, no more, and she was just going crazy over it. Did anyone see that one?
Oh, yeah, I saw that, yeah.
She wanted KFC, Nando's, because all of that was off the menu. She just went crazy over it, and that became pretty famous on TikTok. And now, after a while, the actual, unfortunately, a lot of the commercial companies actually, some of the Deliveroo, I think itself, started to use her as an advert saying that we're back now.
Wow.
It's all about the society that we're living in now. It's too easy to get this convenient food. People aren't cooking.
I was just going to say
it. Fresh food.
Sorry. I was just going to say that I think people generally now live like these fast-paced lives where it's so much like people perceive it as easier to go to McDonald's and grab whatever they want in their lunch break rather than prepare the food the night before. So I think people are quick to take the quick and easy option rather than the one that might take the extra 5 minutes. So I think society could be a cause for obesity potentially, because if people perceive they don't have the time to make healthy food, then they're going to get the meal deal from Tesco's or your KFC or your Burger King or whatever it is. But I think people look for that quick solution now, whereas I meal prep before work, and that's probably quicker sometimes than me actually driving to McDonald's, picking it up and coming home. Does that make sense? So I think that has a part to play.
But this is the thing that...
Sorry, go on.
Sorry. No, go ahead.
Sorry, no, I was just going to quickly say, so Jessica's clearly got a habit, she's got in a routine of looking after herself, looking after her own well-being, and I guess we need to encourage breaking these habits of people thinking, yes, because there's food out here easily accessible, I can just quickly go out and get this food, when they can spend that extra 5 minutes at home. So I guess I would say breaking these habits is what is where the starting point needs to be for most people.
Yeah.
And I also think like teaching people and educating people on what is healthy and what isn't. Like, for example, if you went into a shop and you saw a yogurt and it said low fat right over it, people might perceive that as healthy, but it might be full of sugar and salt. So I think people need to be educated on what is actually a healthy food, what is good for you and what isn't, but also being aware of how to make your favorite treat healthy. So like if you had a burger from Burger King, how you could replicate that at home to taste just as nice, but it would be better for you.
Yeah,
and there are actually tons of like super easy recipes, that you can make home that just literally take like 5 minutes, 10 minutes. It's just that most people don't know. And most people don't know what foods contain what macros and what micros. So people don't know. They're super confused about like proteins, carbs, and vitamins, minerals. They just don't know. And maybe we are the ones who have to educate them, I guess, to a certain extent. And then I don't know, society will hopefully in the future.
Yeah, Roland, you were saying.
The thing is with like the food and the way people misunderstand food is now that fast food companies know people are gearing more towards health, the way they advertise is like, it's fresh produce. We get our potatoes from English farmers and we do this and do that. Okay, like it might be from these farmers, but it could still be modified. It might be from this deep fried and
based on what you're saying.
Sugars in the bun,
Based on what you're saying there, help me understand this, right? So fast food, just think about any fast food chain, the fast food restaurant, right? Are we saying that that's not the definition of healthy, that's unhealthy? Are we saying fast food is unhealthy?
I wouldn't even say any food is unhealthy. Obviously some foods are going to be a lot higher in fat, carbs, sugar. It's just the way you eat determines whether it's healthy or not. And healthy is what your body needs in terms of micro and macronutrients, and and having it in the right proportions. If you want to have a burger once, it's all right to have a burger once, but it would still be better if you made it yourself or got it from somewhere that made it in a healthier way instead of GMO or whatever process they put it through. But a burger itself isn't bad.
I would say like a good definition of healthy food is like the least possible processed. So like the closest to, to nature, to the natural state. That being said, there's nothing wrong with cheating from time to time. With even eating like some grains or, because at the end of the day, I believe it's all a matter of balance. So if that makes me happy and my body doesn't react bad to certain foods, then why not? But like the closer the food is to nature, the better, I would say.
So So can you, when it comes to, this is where we're going to merge sort of fitness and health very quickly as we just come up with our last points and yeah, just before we close. So I just want to say, when it comes to fitness and health, right? Can you actually be fit, like look fit, but actually be unhealthy?
Yeah,
I think yes.
100%.
I think you can. Like, you could aesthetically look great, but inside you could be unhealthy. And I think as you grow up, you may put weight on in certain areas, but I think aesthetically you could look really good, but inside your diet might be shocking, really. And I think it's all about, like, I think nutrition is almost more important than your exercise, if not the most important part of your healthy lifestyle. I don't know if people agree with the nutrition being.
And I think, however, like this kind of apparent healthy, fit look, yet not healthy and not fit, is just like it works only temporarily. Like it's not sustainable in the long term, because eventually, if you're gonna need efficiency, it will show. It might be a matter of 5 years, maybe 10, if you're lucky, even 20, but you can't get away with it, because as Jess was saying, nutrition is maybe the most important element that we have, because we need to
And you know what it is? I feel like people, especially at a young age, I know it gets a lot more serious as you get older, but a lot of people take nutrition for granted. So you can get a load of fit kids. I've worked with a lot of, say, academy footballers who are very fit, but then straight after training they'll go to the chicken shop and get some chicken and some fruit juice, and that's just normal for them, because that's part of the, you could say that's part of the culture. Yes, exactly. So I feel like, just to, like what you lot were saying about nutrition being so important, it is, especially as you get older.
When I was training, I used to compete on the GB squad for martial arts. So when I used to train say 6 times a week, but then I'd go home, I'd have burger, I'd have, I don't know, KFC, I'd have everything. And it was fine for a while, but then as I got a little bit older and then hormones started to kick in, I was putting weight on. I didn't realize, and it got to a point where I was like, I can't keep doing this, because then the energy balance comes in. So I was essentially then eating more than I was burning, you know. So I just ended up putting a lot of weight on. So I think age is definitely one that comes into consideration. If you value your health more as you get older, because your attitudes will reflect it.
What you just mentioned about, like, you know, you competing at such levels and so forth, right? And going home and eating burgers and so forth. When I first entered the fitness realm properly, because I don't think I hit a gym apart from like school. It was either play. I think we only hit the gym at school when it was raining outside. But apart from that, it was football all the way. But when I hit the sort of gym world properly, I think maybe when I was like 18 or 19, the first thing that stuck with me was the word, okay, every guy or girl has to bulk, like it's building, right? And this word called dirty in front of bulks, like dirty bulking or clean bulking, that one, I actually went along with that for a long time, till after I realized, wait, what is this dirty bulking? So dirty bulking is, I'm gonna eat all the fatty and greasy foods I want because I need to build the fat and then convert it into muscle, as opposed to clean bulking, which would be your lean meats and all the rest of it to clean, to I guess healthily bulk. But dirty bulking, is that a thing for you guys?
And I see why it's like bro science. If you heard bro science, it's like people don't really understand what you're talking about. You can put on all the fat you want, but fat never turns into muscle. You only gain fat, lose fat, and build muscle. So it's just a misunderstanding of how to actually build.
So that's a myth. Because a lot of people watching this, and even myself at one point, was told, oh, listen, you could just convert your fat into muscle, you know? And it was like, oh, it's okay, you know? And that's not the case, is it? You can't just say, oh.
No, you can't.
Honestly, I personally think if I ate burgers, if I did a dirty bulk, I ate burgers, chocolate crisps, I would just get fat. That wouldn't turn into muscle.
Yeah.
I would have to lose that and then do a clean bulk to put muscle on. So I think dirty bulk is a bit of a, if you want to do it that way, then you do it. But personally, I don't think it's the most effective way to gain muscle, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like you'll definitely feel stronger. Like when I've not, I haven't intentionally bulked because I'm not really a bodybuild type person. And this is the issue I have with commercial gyms. Most commercial gyms, when people go in, is like everyone's kind of just pushed towards bodybuilding, even though you might be someone that wants to just get a better heart and lungs, or somebody that wants to be able to be more flexible, or just improve your day-to-day life, or just maintain what you have. Everyone's kind of geared to, oh, you need to bulk and then cut. That's not for everyone. But
I agree.
You definitely get stronger. Like when you have more weight, you can lift more. I've been bigger and I've been like loads of body fat and I'm benching and I'm deadlifting, I'm feeling strong. But then I realized like, damn, I've got a lot of fat on my body. Like I need to cut it off. So it's just being able to educate our members, educating our clients, and just educating, the people we train with, and saying, look, it's about health, eating the right foods that your body needs. If you want to gain muscle, eat in a slight surplus. If you want to lose fat, eat in a slight deficit. So just doing the right kind of things. Yeah.
I think you can be strong, but you can still be fat at the same time, if that makes sense. So if you are, as in aesthetically, like bigger, you probably will be stronger. And I think you could be strong, but that doesn't mean that you're healthy at the same time. So I think healthy is such a term that can be defined in so many different ways. I think healthy, you can be strong, but that might not mean healthy, or you might be fit on the outside aesthetically, but you might not be on the inside. So I think it's controversial.
What I try to say to my clients, if you want to be healthy, you need to think about what your body needs. So your body needs carbs, your body needs fats, it needs vitamins, minerals, all these things. That's what is going to make your body function properly. Like you wouldn't diesel in the petrol. You would need to give it the right, nutrition to make the right things work. So that's when I'll say, okay, healthy. And then if you want to improve fitness, that's when it's actual, okay, how your body is functioning, whatever way that may be, and whatever your goals may be, kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, health and fitness is a broad topic, and I actually want to do a second part to this one, looking at how, I guess, stereotypes fit into this as well. Looking at age fit into this. I mean, I've got an amazing person on my Instagram account who's 67 years old, and I mean, by gosh, the way this guy not just looks, but from what I can see anyway, his lifestyle and just how he is as a 67-year-old, I'm just like, listen, this as far as stereotypes go, this isn't what a 67-year-old should look like or should be doing, or and it's like, I think the next kind of conversation would kind of bounce around, I guess, stereotypes. And as you rightfully said, Ron, like you go into a gym and they'll almost look at you and be like, okay, here's a guy, he wants to go on the bench. Here's a girl, she wants to go on the squat rack. And it's like, no, not really. Like there's so many things that each type would want to get into, and so forth.
I've just thought of a myth as well.
Yeah.
In the gym, I get it quite a lot because I'm quite a slim guy. I'm an endurance runner.
Yeah.
That just means, you can't lift. So the amount of times I've had people say, "Oh, do you need help taking some more of that weight off?" or if I say, "Oh, can I jump in? Can I jump in one of your sets? Can I join in because we're doing the same weight?" Then they'll look at you and be like, "Yeah, right." When they're lifting it,
people see muscle size and strength as they correlate. There's loads of athletes that are not big that are very strong. And a lot of people that are big and they're not strong. Strength and muscle size don't always correlate. Like there's guys 60, even girls 60, 50 kg lifting big weights.
Because
they're strong.
But it's funny, and it goes in your favor, doesn't it? It goes in your favor, and you know, you're right. It happens there. It happens with guys and girls. You would say, "Oh, a girl can't lift that," and then she'll come and she'll surprise you, and you're like, "Oh, okay, I guess I should shut my mouth then."
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you guys have been sort of witness to that sort of stuff as well. So.
I remember being at the gym on the squat rack, and I was there ready to lift, and this guy was like, "You do realise you've got those plates on? Do you want me to help you take them off?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" And he was like, "Obviously, I help you take those plates off." And I was like, "I'm just about to lift that." And he was like, "Nah." He was like, "Nah, you can't lift that." And I'm just like,
yeah.
I think that's one of the myths that could be around the gym, that women can't lift heavy weight.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. No, I think that typically comes from people that, if you look at the way they train, they probably don't really know much about training anyway, because they would say that and they probably can't lift it, so they assume automatically that you can't lift it. But sometimes you just gotta just shrug it off and say, okay.
It's
well, I remember once it took me, I don't know how long, to convince a guy to share his bar for power shrugs. And he didn't want to share it with me. He's like, "But you're a woman." "Yes, but I'm gonna lift it. Don't worry. I mean, I'm gonna just remove the last plate," because he was using like 100, and I was using like 80. So I was like, I just need to, take out one of the plates. That's all. He's like, "But you sure?" "Yes, I'm sure. I do this all the time. Just let me do it, please."
You have to keep saying, "I'm sure. I'm sure I can do it."
Yeah, and you're right.
That's pretty annoying.
You're right. And you would look at a big guy. I mean, I've seen some big guys in the gym who would say, "Listen, they can't lift that much, so they can't do that." Or even little things like, I remember being at a gym when I was probably about like 22 or 23 with my gym partner at the time, and we were kind of leaving from downstairs with all the weights, so going upstairs doing some body weights and talking to a couple of guys that we made friends with at the gym, and these guys were what the definition of buff would be. And, we were like, "Yeah, we're just going to go upstairs, do some pull-ups and stuff like that." But like, "You coming to join us?" And they were like, "Nah, they don't do pull-ups. They can't hold their own body weight. They can't do pull-ups, but they'll bench 140 easy all day long, but they can't do 10 pull-ups because it's too much."
It's a lack of conditioning.
Can I just ask a question?
Yeah.
So can I just ask a question? It's more for the guys really, but how would you feel, or would it make you feel a certain way if a female was to lift more than you on the same exercise? Like, how would that make you feel, if it would make you feel a certain way?
Me personally, I've got some female colleagues where two of them are professional competitors and on stage, but one of them is stacked. I don't feel a type of way because she's strong. Strong is strong. Whether you're a man or woman, strong is strong. If you can squat more than me, you can squat more than me. It is what it is. Like, I don't have any problem with that. Especially, I don't have much of the ego in the gym, especially because I'm not like a power lifter or bodybuilder. So it really hurt me as much. Maybe it would if I did do that more, specifically. But if you can run faster than me, stronger than me, I'm asking you questions. What do you do? Give me some notes. I need to know what you did, so I can.
I like
improve.
that.
That's
I like that. I think a lot of people would see that as a threat rather than like, "Oh, how did you get to that point?" or "What can I do to get to that point?" I think a lot of people might see it as like competition almost, especially if you're doing that style of training.
Yeah, definitely give me hunger. Like it says, just saying, I'll write something down, say, "Can you teach me to lift more?" Like, the amount of times I've seen people in the gym and I'm just like, "Can you show me how to do that? How can I support myself? How can I support that weight?" It's just all like the gym's almost like another school.
Yeah.
And you have to use the people around you to get the best out of yourself.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Sorry, go on, Rudy.
I was going to say, because you're in the gym all the time, and it's far more popular than it's ever been, I would have thought by now that the gender stereotyping started to fade away, because a lot of women are in there pushing serious weights. So I'd expect more guys to, expect it.
my view on it, I see a lot of guys in the gym, as much as we have progressed in time, I see a lot of guys in the gym still showboating, still peacocking, still still competing with one another, right? So it's like the guys will compete with the guys to lift the most, to run the fastest, to do whatever, right? Not having girls in this equation. So when a girl does come along and have it lifting more weights than them, they're like, wait a minute, like I thought the battle was with my fellow guys, but here's a girl which I didn't even think of coming and lifting the heavy. It's all about ego, isn't it? As you said, if you don't have, if you're not ego driven, and ego don't make you lift weight, ego causes injuries, you know. I've seen people embarrass themselves with their ego going, oh well, he lift that, so I'm gonna lift that, or she done this, so I'm gonna lift that. It's like, listen, know yourself. And if someone, like you said, if someone can lift more than you, or run faster than you, or do whatever, be like, round of applause, cool. Now I want to get there. If that's what you want to do, how do I do it? So
yeah, definitely. Just be humble. Just be humble. Be willing to learn. I'll ask anyone questions. I don't care if you're 40 years older than me, 40 years younger than me. If you can do something I cannot do, or you're doing it in a different way, I'm going to ask you so I can learn how to do it.
Agreed.
So it is. That's just how I am.
I think that's the. Sorry, I was just going to say, I think that's the key, because somebody might have been doing it longer for you and have more experience, or somebody might have been doing it for a shorter time and progressed quicker. So I think if you're always open to learn and understand and develop yourself, I think that's the best way, because if you're shut off and so channeled in your own thoughts and what you think's right, I think that's when you're going to lack progress. I think you need to have an open mind to training and exercise, because you can always learn new things.
I like that.
So like surrounding health and surrounding fitness, right? If you had to leave the viewers, and actually just leave each and every one of us with either a tip, a bit of advice, whatever it is, if you have to leave us with something, what would it be pertaining to health and fitness?
I would say, if you've got a goal, whatever it is, set it and write it down. And then underneath it, write down some steps that you're going to take to achieve it, and make sure you tick the boxes week in, week out. Be consistent, and that's how you're going to achieve your goal. So if you've got something that you want to do, whether it's be good at a sport, whether it's to play with your grandchild, whether it's to do a 140 kg bench, set the goal, write down the steps you're going to take, and just be consistent with it and try not to fall off. That's what I would say.
Yeah.
I would say to try and be yourself. So just try to spend some time alone and really reflect upon what you believe in, what your goals are, where you want to go. So don't listen to mainstream popularized culture and fake myths. Just do it for yourself, and the motivation will follow.
Yeah, I like that.
Me personally, I would leave people with, understand your food, understand what you're putting in your mouth, on your plate, whether that be just understanding the difference between carbs, fats and proteins, or, you know, even further like micronutrients and, you know, vitamins and things like that. Just understand your food, understand calories, or learn about calories. I'm not saying you have to count them, just understand your food, and you will make a lot more progress.
Nice.
Rudy, do you want to go?
Would say don't be frightened to ask for advice and help from either PTs that's in the gym or other trainers, because from my experience I found that they're only too glad to give you advice. And at the same time, all too often I see people go into the gym as a newbie and they're frightened to ask for advice, and they're just doing it completely wrong, working themselves into an injury. So you know, ask for advice. Don't be shy.
That's a good one.
My little bit of advice, and it's something we haven't really touched on, but I'd say try not to believe everything you see or read on social media, because everyone has their own starting point and everyone has their own goals at the end. And what we can't see on social media is that journey in between. So that could be from diet, from fitness and health. And I would also say it's all about trial and error. Life's all about experiences, and if we don't go through the experiences, we're not going to know what works and what doesn't work.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's what I would say.
Yeah, perfect. I think that's a lot of advice. That's a lot of sensible advice. And I definitely want to thank you guys for sharing your opinions, your facts, your stories with me, with each other, with those watching. And I think my bit of advice is literally just, it is who you surround yourself with as well. Because I've got people that I surround myself with that will say to me, like, Jay, you're letting yourself go, or Jay, you're doing a bit too much on that, or you're doing this. And I'm like, am I? Because sometimes you can't see yourself. Sometimes, you know, you're oblivious to your bad habits, or your good habits, but you're just oblivious to things at times. So surround yourself definitely with good people, whether that be on social media or in person. And yeah, I think every bit of advice that you guys have given tonight has been sound. And I want to thank you very much. As I said, definitely think that there's a lot more to cover coming off of the back of a lot that we've spoken about. And I'm intrigued to hear what, of course, those who are viewing have to say to some of the points that you've raised. And of course, I'm sure you, after watching this back, will go, oh my gosh, yeah, actually, we could talk about this. Yeah, I'm sure there's a second one definitely come. But for now, thank you very much for joining me. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
And everyone watching online, thank you for